Howdy hi ladies and gentlemen, it's another session of Lorcana deck testing with your boy, TheXploder, right here. And today, we have a brand new idea that really came into my head earlier this week. Amber Sapphire, Pride of Atlantica. The main gist of this, using the big 9-cost Triton Champion of Atlantica, Shift 6, 7/9 stat block, 3 lore, and Imposing Presence. Imposing characters get -1 attack for each location you have in play. Now, I'm only running 2 copies because, number 1, I only own 2 copies in real life, and number 2, even though the deck is centered around the Triton tech, Triton himself's not going to come out all the time, simply because of his very high cost. So we have a backup plan, and our backup plan is, of course, Tamatoa. Because if you're running a bunch of items in Sapphire, you're going to run at least 2 to 3 copies of Tama anyway. So for why not? Let's just splash in with a Tamatoa tech whilst we are at it. But before we go into that, first things first, it's under $100 for this deck if you want to try it out yourself. So not too bad. It's on the higher end of where some budgets would be, I know. But it involves a lot of cards that are being used in the meta right now, so it kind of makes sense. Let's go through the list, starting with the characters. 22 of them in total. I've already gone over the 2 copies of Triton, Champion of Atlantica. We have 4 copies of Simba, Protective Cub. Reason why we have Simba, he counts as a prince, which counts as a target for Pride lands, so we can reduce the cost of our characters by 1. Completely viable, and plus, if you ever need a bodyguard out for any reason whatsoever, Simba's your guy. He's got your back, simple as. We have Scuttle to be able to search for items, and he's just a 1/3, easily goes out there. I'm contemplating maybe getting Scuttle out, because we have plenty of card draw. We're drawing cards with the likes of Popsicle, Develop Your Brain, even with cards like How Far I'll Go. So it's not as if we're desperate for card draw and we're not desperate to find items, but Scuttle just for cycling out the deck, maybe getting that 1 item that will really help us out right now. It's handy, and it will also help us sing 1 jump ahead a little bit later on also. So he's handy for now, but I could switch him out. Well, I'll go over potential switching options after we've done the games. We've got 4 copies of Hiram Flaversham, the Toy Maker. aka the guy who, whenever he quests or whenever he's played, you banish 1 of your items, you draw 2 cards. Flaversham is the main way we're going to be keeping our hand size, and we keep our hand size by effectively just keep drawing cards and getting rid of the items that we are using. On top of that, he's also a fantastic target to sing How Far I'll Go, so he doubles up that way. But he's not alone, we also got the 4-cost Triton Young Prince, so we do have a Triton that our big Triton can shift on if need be. Gains evasive during our turn, and as an evasive 3/4 attacker, pretty darn nice. And whenever one of your locations is banished, I can put that into my inkwell, so if I have locations out and Triton out, but the opponent focuses on my locations, at least they turn into ink, and I can focus more on the Tamatoa endgame rather than the Triton endgame, which is absolutely fine. It backs us up, just in case. I really like the Young Prince Triton, not just for the card art, but the effects. So, yeah, we're going to be running him. Obviously, we've gone over Tamatoa and we've gone over Triton. 4 copies of Tam, 2 copies of Triton. Simple as. Now we go on to the actions. 4 copies of Develop Your Brain, just for some easy card draw and being able to cycle the other card we don't necessarily need yet onto the bottom of the deck. 3 copies of Bruno's Return. Because we've only got a finite number of characters, at being only at 22, but if any of our really important characters go, like Simba, Flaversham, Tamatoa, basically any of our characters can be key characters in this case, Bruno's Return just brings it back into our hand. It's a 2 cost, so it's not very expensive whatsoever. And also being able to remove 2 damage from a chosen character, it means I can potentially swing into something with Triton Young Prince, use Bruno's Return, get back a card, heal up Young Prince for 2 damage, and he's able to stay in the fight and kick some more butt later on. It's handy. Now we're running 4 copies of 1 Jump Ahead, like I spoke about earlier, just for some extra ramp, it's how you do, as well as 4 copies of How Far I'll Go. More ramp, more action gets us to our endgame quicker. We then have our 16 items, which can be a little bit steep, but this is what we're running. 4 copies of Popsicle, because of course it's just the single best 1-drop in Sapphire. Yeah, it has to be done. We have 4 copies of Wildcat's Wrench. Now, I've decided to use this item because of the locations we're running. The locations we're running, for the most part, have a high amount of willpower. So, even if they don't, I think the lowest willpower we have is on Neverland, which only has a willpower of 4. But it is a 1-drop location, so it makes sense as to why it's so easily rid of. But the great thing about the wrench is that it will always see play. Even if you just have it out for the sake of Tamatoa, that's great. Being able to remove 2 damage off of a location just pressures your opponent into thinking, oh my god, is it worth smashing into locations now, or am I just best getting rid of characters? What do I do? You're effectively making threats more threatening by keeping them alive longer, which I like the tech of. And it's only 2 costs, so it's nice and cheap. 4 copies of Fishbone Quill, because of course we want to be able to get some extra ramp, and it's a nice card. 3 copies of Vault Door. Now, we're running enough locations to make this viable, and like it says there, your locations and characters at locations get resist +1. Even if all we have is Neverland and McDuck Manor, but don't do anything else apart from just be locations for gather lore, we can just move our characters there for basically 1 ink each. I think they're 1 ink each. Yes, for Neverland, and yes, for McDuck Manor. Just move them in there for dead cheap. They instantly gain resist +1. Your locations get resist +1. You're then healing your locations with Wildcat's Wrench. It's all working hand in hand. Your characters are protected, your locations are protected, everybody's protected, and that's what we like. And then 1 copy of Lucky Dime. It would be 2, but in real life I only own 1 copy of Lucky Dime, and I've always borrowed a second off of someone else. But if you own a second copy in real life, I'd probably recommend upping the dime to 2, and maybe taking maybe take Scuttle down to 3, or if you're not too keen on the items, maybe take Wildcat's Wrench down to 3, so that you don't go into it as often, but that's up to you. Then we have 9 locations in total. We have 4 copies of Neverland. It's nice, easy, cheap, get it out turn 1, nice, easy, basic lore gain to pressure your opponent nice and early. Why the heck not? McDuck Manor, which is probably one of the best locations in the game because it's at a fair cost for what it is. 9 willpower is huge. Being able to get 2 lore at the beginning of every single one of your turns is fantastic as well. Combine this with Wildcat's Wrench and the fact that you're healing it up for 2 if your opponents are smacking into it all the time, and they will either forget about McDuck Manor and you'll win that way, or they will focus all of their effort on McDuck Manor, and before you know it, you've got a perfect Tamatoa board. That's the trick there. And then last but not least, Pride Lands. I've only got 3 copies of Pride Lands, or else I would up this to 4 and probably rearrange some of the other totals somehow. So if you want to run Pride Lands of 4, I do recommend it, and minus out one of the other cards we have up there. This is a 62 card deck after all. Just because I tried it at 60, and with everything that I was doing with it, just needed that little bit extra, so I thought 62's fine. If you were going any higher than 62, I would just say this deck is a bust. But at 62, it's nice and solid. Play it at your own disposal. If you have 4 copies of Pride Lands, up it to 4. Not a problem. Maybe take Vault Door down to 2 if you want to. Or maybe take How Far I'll Go down to 3 so you're not going to potentially brick into your hand too much. But Pride Lands does what Pride Lands does. It does cost 2 to go into, but your characters get +2 willpower while they're there, and if you have a Prince or King here, you pay 1 less to play your characters. Fantastic. That means we can move Simba there, we can move Triton there, and we can move bigger Triton there. We have 3 big targets, and overall card size, that's 4, 8, 10 characters that can potentially go there out of 22, which is not bad at all. Even if it just sits there, gaining lore every turn, giving, I don't know, like Scuttle or Flavisham an extra 2 health, or even Tamatoa an extra 2 health, and maybe even resist +1 with a Vault Door, it's absolutely fine. It's not the end of the world, you're not going to break the bank, it just works. It's one of the key players of the deck, and I love it. And effectively that's what it is. Our game plan with the deck is to set up our board and effectively make our opponent struggle between one of two different cases. We either have a board full of locations that are gaining lore so quick, so passively, and our opponents are unable to swing into them fast enough to a point where we can just glide through the game with ease, or we effectively use the locations as bait so we can flesh out our item board, put out Tamatoa at the right time, and just start questing big. But we'll see how things go in the test games. Let's go from here. Now we're back to Ink Table yet again. I've cleaned up Ink Table this time around, getting rid of a bunch of the decks that were either old versions of decks or just bad decks that just did not work. So cleaned that out a little bit. We're going to start off with Amber Sapphire versus Brooms because I love Brooms. I know how Brooms play. And quite frankly, I think Brooms are a good, easy stepping stone in. It's a tier 2 deck. And for those who say, oh, Brooms aren't tier 2, they totally are tier 2, dude. They have to be. Because they have control potential, they have aggro potential. It's the nice balancing act between the two. And it's a great challenge to see whether you're able to basically control the board at the pace of which Brooms are. And then after Brooms, depending on how we do, we'll potentially go against Sisu on Ice and see how we do against a big boy meta deck. Not a bad hand to start off with, but we're going to ink Tamatoa nice and early. It's just going to be way too soon before we play him. And be instant first turn Popsicle. And we draw into the big Triton. Not great. Really not great. If I could help it, I wouldn't want Triton until much later. Probably around turn 6, so I had an option to shift if I had the other Triton out. That is bad for the Brooms. Brooms just go straight into triple Fortisphere. That's quite devastating. Oh, there's my prince. Okay, turn 2. What do we really want? I think I want to set up Pride Lands. And I think Pride Lands setup is a very nice idea. But who do I sack? I think I have to sack Big Triton. Because he's just come in too early. I'm not going to be able to get anything out that soon. And at least if I set up Pride Lands, it can start gathering lore. And then next turn, potentially play out Simba. And then another Popsicle, depending on what we get. There you go, you finally get a Luminary Keeper. And there's Aerial Cleaner as well, so you have the double. Lovely, he has the juicy double. So what's going to happen with us? There's our first lore of the game. We're on the board. Now, I go to 3. My ramp isn't until turn 4, but I do also have Fishbone Quill if I wanted to. What's going to be my best ploy here? Because if I play Simba, I can't move Simba into Pride Land straight away. That's my trick. However, I think my best plan here is maybe Fishbone Quill, ink something, maybe even inking the Scuttle with Fishbone. And then, because then, bearing in mind, I can ink something for 1 and play out the Popsicle to get an extra card as well, so that's not a problem. Tell you what, we're going to actually ink Prince Triton. We're going to play out the Fishbone. And we're going to use a Fishbone, because we need to focus on ramp early on, to ink the Scuttle. And we're going to play out the Popsicle and draw a card. And we get the other Prince. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. Not a worry. I know we just have a location out, but it's passive lore every turn. It's doing what it needs to do. I don't have a problem. He can only deal 3 damage to it if he was to swing into it with both the Brooms at the moment, which is nothing. There's Industrial Model, so the Luminary Keeper has resist +1. He should just quest with both Brooms, which he is. Fantastic. Not bad at all. Nice, easy, and simple. Just gotta remember Luminary Keeper has resist, but we're not too worried about that. We draw into a Vault Door. Handy. Actually handy. I think what we do here, we ink a Simba. I play out a Simba, but I don't bodyguard him. And I move Simba into Pride Land so I can immediately benefit off of a -1 play. It does mean I'm not ramping with how far I'll go this turn, but I'm willing to go without it. I'm even willing to ink it just with Fishbone, just so I can get it out there. Or maybe I ink Triton? I want to ink something with Fishbone if I had the choice. Because Vault Door has been clutched to me many a time. Or maybe I just ink a Vault Door now and I don't necessarily need it until later because more characters I have, the better. Yeah, let's do that actually. I'm going to use Fishbone and we're going to ink for Vault Door. In before, I regret it later, but we'll see how we do. But there we go, we have Simba set up. Simba now has 5 willpower on him. No need to bodyguard because we don't have any other characters out to make that worthwhile. And now he's going to start tackling into Pride Land. So that's 2. Oh no, there's Swift Cleaner. So that's going to be 4. So that's 6 damage. You're just going to tap him with a Luminary Keeper. Yeah, Pride Land is gone. Damn. Damn. There it is. See what I mean? Brooms. Never sleep on the brooms. This is why I always like testing against my broom deck. Because I find the broom deck is a very good test of, can you do it, bruh? Can I go? Now I'm quite scared, because the location's gone. So I don't see the reason to bring out Triton now. I really don't see the reason for Triton now. Yeah, I think I'll wink him. I'll risk it. I'll risk it for the biscuit. And then we just role play out how far I'll go. And we get a second Simba, or we get a Develop Your Brain. Search or character? If I search, I think the only other character I would gladly pull into is Scuttle that I can play this turn, but maybe that's value? Because Simba would just protect the other Simba, but if I did do that... Ah, but he has Swift Cleaner, and Swift Cleaner has 4 attack. Youch. Yeah, Develop Your Brain. I think we just develop. Go straight into develop. Let's see what other cards we can get our hands on. And it's Flavisham. Okay, cool. I'll take Flav. I'll take Flavor Flav. Can't play him this turn, which kind of sucks. I'm going to also... Do I risk it for another biscuit? I think I do. I just need to ramp up to 10 as soon as, and then I don't have to worry about inking ever again. Not going to quest for Simba, because it's just not valuable. See what I mean? Brooms! And I know some people in the comments will probably be like, yo, Brooms aren't this sick, what are you doing? But Brooms, dude! Plus, I don't exactly have removal in this color scheme. That's one of the big drawbacks. You don't have a lot of legitimate removal. All you have is attack reduction, and that's it. So it doesn't stop your opponent from just outright questing. Which is why I'm tempted to take out Scuttle and maybe replace it with Wendy, so I have some level of support in the game. But we'll see. I did pull into a Neverland, so that's cool. I'm going to go straight into Flavisham, draw 2 cards. That's okay. That is okay. I'm actually going to ink that other Flavisham. I'm going to play out both cards. There's the Wrench. There's the Neverland. Fantabidozy. And just to be a cheeky sod, why not? Let's just move both our boys in there. Just to use up the odd bits of things. And... do I quest for Simba? Still not value. No. I know you can get rid of Neverland straight away, but then he's not questing. And the AI might just do that. We'll have to see. This is a tough matchup. A very tough matchup. And this is the problem with gimmicky decks like this in general anyway, because you find a mechanic that you really want to build a deck around, and you're like, oh, well, that's really interesting. And yes, it is. The problem is, to set up what you want to do, it takes a lot. And then once you have the setup, the next issue is dealing with what you've got on the board. Because you can see, I have Ramp. Ramp's not an issue. Card draw, sure, I didn't have Flavisham early on, so that's a little bit of a struggle. The other issue I have, however, is the fact that I am now going into round 14 of back and forth turns. I've only just now gone into a Vault Door, and Vault Door's basically useless, because look at what my opponent has on the board. Look at the absolute sweep that Brooms is going to bring to the table. So he quests for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in one turn. He'll go to 25. And all I have is a Simba that attacks with 2, a Flavisham that attacks with 1. I don't think I'm getting through. So, this is a bust. This is a bust of a game, which kind of sucks. But let's do a round 2. Why not? We'll do 2 games against Brooms, and then we'll do... didn't mean to do that one. Let's get back in there. 2 games against Brooms, and we'll do 2 games against Sisu on ice, and see what happens as well. So we compare Tier 2 to Tier 1, and really challenge the deck. That's the only way you're really going to challenge gimmicks like this, is if you push the decks to their absolute limits by going against decks that will legitimately challenge you. If you're doing gimmicks versus gimmicks like I did with my first video with when Walk by Hades, which, don't get me wrong, still find that deck like it's a fun idea, but the outcome of it is that it's just not going to perform. Don't need 2 Fishbone Quills, let's go straight into Neverland and get that early lore. Nice, that's what we want. So this is probably a better hand than I had last time. I mean, now, next turn I can go into Scuttle, so I have a character out, I can search for another item. After that, on turn 3, I can then sing with Scuttle with 1 jump ahead. There's another Pride Lands, I can always just play that next turn. I think... Ooh, is it beneficial to actually ink Scuttle? No, it's more beneficial to ink Simba at the moment, because Simba's just not putting in work. I'm tempted to maybe even take Simba out. Maybe Simba's just not viable either. And we just rely on Triton for Pride Lands. And we just do that a little bit more late game. But this is why we test it. And this is why this series is all about deck testing, not necessarily doing anything major. 4 hits there, that's fine. It's a shame we hit Flavisham and we can't draw him, but we get Voldor. That's ink, if anything else, this early on. And it'll give our Neverlands a resist +1, so I'm not going to sleep on that idea. Okay, brilliant. Turn 2's fine with Scuttle. Their turn 2. We were lucky last time that they had a double turn with 2 Fortispheres, but I doubt we're going to get that again. Especially now, since the opponent this time round has double Illuminary Keeper into Fortisphere. Very nice. Very nice. If you're interested in me playing the Broom deck in future, just so I can show it to you guys, let me know in the comments. Because Brooms are my go-to. Brooms are my absolute love letter to Lorcana. I love that deck to pieces. And I think that version of Brooms is probably the best I'm going to make it. Okay, so we're going to go into turn 3. We're going to start off by doing what I said. Sing with Scuttle, 1 jump ahead, so we can at least stay with our ink load. Have not inked this turn. So I'm actually going to ink Voldor. And we're going to play Fishbone Quill. And then I'm going to use Fishbone Quill to ink one of my Pride Lands, because I just don't need both. And then now I'm on 5. And that actually works out pretty nice for us. I probably should have moved Skull into Neverland just because I can. No financial benefit apart from, it's a bird on an island! And that's literally it. But Yen Sid, there he is. He's going to be able to quest for 3 when he's next able to, and he's not dry. There's Fortisphere being used on an Illuminary Keeper. I'm not going to be able to attack your Yen Sid, dude. I'm not going to be able to do it. I think if you wanted removal in this deck, you'd probably have to run either the high-costed Hades or maybe even a couple of copies of Let It Go. Let It Go's fine. But the removal options in this color scheme aren't exactly great. You do have World's Greatest Criminal Mind, but that's only for characters 5 attack and up. So in our case, it's just not gonna help. Oh god, this hand. Now, do I play out the location or do I play out how far I go? What's my best option here? I don't like this. I really don't. You know what? I think... Are we going to risk it for a biscuit? I'm tempted to. I'm really tempted to. You know what? Let's do this. I'm going to ink McDuck Manor. I'm going to risk it for a biscuit. We're going to raw play how far I'll go. Because I do need that extra bit of card draw if anything else. Perfect. Perfect. We got Flavisham. Then this turn I'll play out of Pride Lands. Just so we have it. We're now passively gaining 2 lore every turn. And we should be okay. And then if I quest with Scuttle, we'll be on 4. Our opponent would go to 3, 4, 5. I'll be able to quest for 5 next turn. It'll be tough. And like I said, because we don't have a lot of big attack characters or any way to get rid of pesky characters, this is why I'm tempted to maybe take out Scuttle, put in characters like Wendy with support, and then that could maybe get me to use World's Greatest Criminal Mind, because you can support an opposing character, take the opposing character above 5 attack, and then when you take them above 5 attack, they have become prime targets for World's Greatest Criminal Mind. So it could work out, and then you could also maybe splice in the mini musketeer bodyguard that also does the same as Criminal Mind. We'll see. That is a very scary board. Now they have 2 Yen Sids. That's 6 lore on its own. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9. That is incredible. Wow. This is why Brooms are scary. If you don't have what you need to get control Brooms early on, they'll just sweep. It is supermarket sweep over here. It's kind of mad. Right, we're going to play out Flaversham because I need card draw, please. No! Why? Oh. It was fine. Like, I was testing this deck off camera. And it was working fine. Now it's not. Now it's not at all. I really don't want to ink second mana if I can help it. Oh my days. Yeah, I'm just gonna ink the Quill. There's nothing else I can do there. Then, see, this is my issue now. I just don't have anything that can challenge into anything. So all I can do is just quest. And if I'm questing every turn, it's fine, don't get me wrong. But if I'm questing every turn, I want to be questing for at least 2. So I can be a little bit scary with a little bit more aggro, right? But I just don't have that pleasure. I don't have that luxury. And that's the issue I now have. Ah, there you go. So let the Storm Rage on, hits me for 2, but I do now have 5 because of Pride Lands, so it was a good job moving Scuttle into Pride Lands just for that. There's an Aerial Cleaner. Some more Brooms. And here we go. Here comes the 9 lore play. There's 3 there. There's the other 3 going to 6, plus them up to 14. Then are we just going to see quests all around? There's 15. Come on, you can do it. Give me some of that sweet, sweet lore. There's 16, and then it's going to be 17. So it's game next turn, unless we literally have an insane godlike play that can clear the board. And I highly doubt we have it. Highly, highly doubt that we have it. Let's have a look. And I like the fact that we're testing it against Brooms, because I feel like Brooms are a good stepping stone, like I said earlier. No, there's one jump ahead. Great. Well, we have no way of questing up to 20, no way of getting rid of airboard in any capacity whatsoever. That's a GG to Brooms. Brooms are intimidating. If you want to see the Broom deck at some point in the future, let me know in the comments. Let's roll on against Sisu on Ice. If this is Tier 2, I'd love to see what we do in Tier 1, even if it's just my face being shoved through a brick wall. Let's see what happens. Okay, Sisu on Ice. A couple of games of this will hopefully do us all right. That is a terrible hand. Immediately get rid of a Tamers Vidime and Bruno. I'll keep one jump and we'll get rid of a Vault Door. We're going to be mulliganing almost our entire hand. And hopefully... it's better than it was. It's better than it was. I'm going to have to ink Triton. There's no way I'm keeping him in my handle this time. And first turn Popsicle, though. Flaversham? Oh, no. Of course not. You never get the card you truly want. Maybe if I ask really nicely to get cards that I don't want, maybe I have a better chance. So if you've never seen Sisu on Ice for meta deck, it's effectively a Ruby Sapphire deck with similar ramp to what I have here, but it runs off of using Ice Block and the new Sisus and Brawl that effectively get rid of characters of certain attack values or less, which is extremely handy for control. Not handy for me, where no. I'm going to ink one Fishbone, I don't need 2. We're going to go into Scuttle just so I have a character out. No items! That's okay, I guess. I mean, at least we basically rotate the top 4 cards of our deck. Better than nothing. Next turn I'm totally going to go into Fishbone unless something crazy happens. But I doubt it in their deck. I'm quite happy to ramp up because that's effectively what the Ruby Sapphire deck is going to be doing as well. So early game's going to look very lackluster. It's the late game I'm going to be terrified of. And in the late game, I'm basically going to need the big Triton to shut down any attacks, or I'm going to be in very dire straits. Right, I think we ink the second Scuttle. And what do we have available to us? We're going to sing... Oh, no, not that one. We're going to sing one jump ahead with Scuttle, so we can at least keep up our ramp. So that's going to be essential. I think we do... I think we just go Fishbone Quill, and I think we Fishbone Ink Vault Door, because we're not going to need Vault Door yet, and we just focus on setups. So let's go Fishbone, use Fishbone, Ink Vault Door. And then we can actually play out Neverland. That works. So at least we get a little bit of passive lore this early on as well. So we're already on 5, so we are ahead of the curve. There's Brawl, that's fine. It's going to hit Scuttle, but that's not the problem. I think what we want to do in this matchup, we want to focus more on the location game rather than anything else. So anytime we can play our location, we just do it. And this is one of those examples. Neverland, play it out. Might as well war play how far I'll go. Ooh, okay. Wildcat's Wrench would actually be a shout here, I think. Yes. Yes, it will. I'll take Wildcat's Wrench into my hand. I can play it. I can ink it. That's absolutely fine. And... oh, I could also ink it now if I wanted to, but it's a bit of a waste. I'm ahead on ink, so I don't mind. I think my opponent actually missed out on an ink drop last turn, unless I was blind. Oh no, they did hit the ink. That's fine. And there's Sisu. And Sisu's not really going to be a threat, because Sisu only has 1 extra attack. This Sisu gains +1 attack for each card in your opponent's hand. A fantastic card to have in Ruby. Brilliant card to have in Ruby. But the good thing is we don't have to worry about it. So don't worry about it. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to completely ruin that Sisu's day. It does quest for 2 lore, so we need to be mindful of that. I'm just going to raw play one jump, raw play the Wildcat's Wrench, and then I'm just going to pass. Because we have our 2 locations out, we're passively gaining 2 lore every turn. It's slow, I know, but it's better than out. You're immediately going to go to 2 with Sisu, but it depends on what else you have in your hand. There's Grandma Tala for some more searching. Okay, cool. I was tempted to put Grandma Tala in this deck as well for some more search, but I felt like I had enough search and card draw, he says when he has no cards in his hand, but we have to play this hyper specifically. And look at this. Okay, now I have Prince Triton out. And now with the Prince Triton, not just can I start smacking into some fools, but now, if anything happens where my opponent does just smash into the Neverlands, Triton can just turn those Neverlands into ink, and I'm absolutely fine. Unless you're gonna do a thing. Are you? Oh, is he gonna do a thing? Oh, there's a... okay, second Grandma. Interesting. It's always interesting to see how the AI plays out certain decks. You're just gonna... no? No, you're just gonna dink some damage into Neverland, lower my attack with 2 ice blocks, and that's it. Such an intimidating turn. Okay, we're now on 7. Gradually building up still. We're still doing great. There is Simba. Not a lot to really worry about there. Let's just do this. Let's just remove 2 damage off of that Neverland so we can stay up that little bit longer. Well, I say a little bit longer. Any of these grandmas can just smack into it. But that's fine. We have Triton. Speaking of which, I think what I want to do is I actually want to play out the Simba as a bodyguard. And as a result of that, Triton doesn't have enough to take out a Sisu, but does have enough to take out a grandma. And I think that's what I'll do. I'll actually take out one of the grandmas, because I have 4 defense, so I don't mind taking a bit of a hit. And then I'll use Popsicle to heal up 2, so I'm only on the 1 damage. And you can't attack into Triton anyway because I have Simba out, so why not? Do a little bit of control on our own level, see how you like that. I am missing ink drops now, and that is slightly concerning because I preferably want to be at 8. And there's Sisu. Youch. There's the board wipe. That now means if that Neverland goes thanks to Grand Martala, I no longer get it as ink. And it's gone. There you go. That valuable ink that I would have loved is now gone. But the thing is, Sisu only worked on Triton because of Ice Block. Because Triton had 3 attacks, so Sisu wouldn't have triggered. That's why the opponent uses an Ice Block to hit my Triton, and then shifts onto Big Sisu clears the board. Youch. Okay, with that in mind, you've got way too much damage on the board for Wildcat's Wrench to be effective. Let's give it a bad. Draw 2 cards. Why? Yep. Yep. This is... yeah. The thing is, this is why I like doing these videos anyway, because I like the idea of testing out quirky deck ideas. And I know some people out there will probably be thinking, what's the point of trying out quirky decks if they don't work? And the thing is, it's not as if the decks don't work. They have tech in them, and they do synergize. The problem is that you have to challenge the decks by putting them against either, I'd say, Tier 2 9 times out of 10 is really good testing bed. If you want to get the full testing bed experience, you definitely want to test out against Tier 1. So if you're not testing the decks against Tier 1, then what are you actually doing? Because if you want to be competitive, or at least see if your wacky idea is anywhere near competitive, why wouldn't you test it against Tier 1 and Tier 2? That's my question. Okay, so we're going to quest for Flaversham. I'm actually going to get rid of the Wildcat's Wrench again. Draw 2 cards. There's a Voldor. Voldor's interesting. Okay. Cool. Tempting. Very, very tempting. Right, that's what I'm going to do. We're going to play a bit weird. We're going to do a bit of a weird play. We're going to play out Voldor. Then going to move Flaversham into Neverland. Then I'm going to play out Wildcat's Wrench. And then use Wrench to heal off the rest of that damage. So now Neverland has 5 willpower. Or effectively 5, thanks to the resist +1. And Flaversham has resist +1 as well. So it's something. There's not a lot else I can really do. It might just make my opponent quest and that's it. And that's fine. I don't think we're going to get any crazy plays off unless we're insanely lucky next turn. Is that going to be a Medusa that I see? Oh no, you have Dime and I didn't see it. Oh no! Oh, that sucks. Okay, so 14 with Grand Martala, 17 with Big Sisu. That is going to be game next turn unless I can somehow at least get rid of Big Sisu. I don't have removal though. Oh, I've got my little kitty. Oh, God. Okay. Alright. And okay. Screw you. Hey, Sisu on Ice is meta for a reason, people. This is why. Yeah, we're not getting anything done. Out of curiosity. Let's see what we can draw into, shall we? We drew into nothing. Absolutely nothing. Right, with that in mind, let's just have a laugh, shall we? Let's just go. There's Duck Manor. There's another Bony Quill. I'm just gonna do this. Ink for Dime, because it's not gonna come out. 1 jump ahead. There's the 10th ink. At least I got the 10 ink faster than Sisu on Ice. I'll take that to the bank. But yeah, that's game. There's no way I can catch up. Wait, what? Oh yeah, you can Dime anyway, so it's not... you don't need to. You can just Dime me. Do the Dime. There you go. GG. GG. And he had Be Prepared in his hand, of course he did. Okay, one more. Because in one of my test games before recording, and this is one of those cases where it's like, yeah, of course it worked better when you weren't recording. But it was! It was crazy how that was happening before recording. But literally, in one of my test games before recording, I did play against Sisu on Ice, and I actually did really well against Sisu on Ice, and I locked it down, and I actually quested for 20, which was incredible. But this is the problem we're now going to have. We don't have any big attackers to get rid of any big challengers. And I just think there's a little bit too much going on in the deck. A little bit too much going on. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to ink a Tammy. And we gotta develop. We can see what we develop. Popsicle over Neverland. Yes, please. I should have probably gone Neverland. But at least I could scuttle next turn if I really want to. Or I could just ramp. I might actually just ramp with one jump tomorrow and just raw play the one jump ahead and just say screw it. Because that's what my opponent's doing as well, basically. Opponent isn't giving a damn. And as long as I play out my locations, we can't do a lot until later. So I'm willingly going to risk it for a biscuit. I think we ink a scuttle. We don't need two in our hand. And yeah, we just go straight for one jump. See what happens. Go straight to 3 ink and pass. So at least next turn I can probably ink a Triton and then raw play how far I'll go and keep up the ramp. He's missed an ink. Missed an ink drop. Okay, that works in our favor. It means we are insanely lucky, but sometimes it happens like this. Yeah, we're just going to go how far I'll go. See what we get. Vault Door and McDuck Manor. I'll go for the Manor. We want to play that. We want to play the duck. No more duck, duck, goose where we're going, but we're going to duck it. Okay. What have you got? Best Flaversham, and your card draw keeps on going. Of course it does. No need to worry about ink anymore now that you have a way to draw cards, am I right? Okay. We have options now. But I am going to go on to 6 ink. So what I think I'm going to do is, hear me out. I'm going to ink Simba, and we're going to play out Triton, and we're going to play out Pridelands. So now we have our first location, and we have Triton. This now means I can move Triton into Pridelands at the beginning of next turn for 2. Then we could potentially do some other shenanigans afterwards. There's an ice block. Is it going to come online? Oh no! Do you have Brawl in your hand? Brawl? No, just another Flavor Flav. Okay. Okay, no Brawl in hand. Ice blocks are in discard at the moment. We're fresh on the board with 1 lore. This is a very interesting game. We do get Big Triton and we can shift him if need be, but it's a little bit early. Don't want to shift him too early. We want to shift him at the right time. So I still want to set up my ink if I possibly can. I don't think we need Scuttle. I really don't think we need Scuttle anymore. So we're going to ink him. I'm going to play the duck, play the mana every time. Then I think we go Popsicle, see what I can do card draw wise, because now that makes it worth getting Flaversham for next turn. And yeah, and then I think with my last 2 ink, I'm going to move Triton into Prideland, and then I'm actually going to sing with Triton how far I'll go. So now we keep our ramp going even more. We draw an extra card. What do we get? Oh, another how far I'll go. That was a really solid turn there. Nice, so now we passively gain 3 lore every turn. If somehow he's able to get rid of one of my locations, Triton will be able to turn that into ink if need be. This is interesting. This is probably the most interesting game of this session so far. Double how far I'll go with 2 Flavershams. You've never seen this before. Ouch, there's Medusa. Doesn't even need an ice block for it. That kind of sucks. But with 1 ink away, I can just play out Triton if I so wished. And I'm kind of tempted to do it. Just to do immediate shutdowns. And I can... Ooh, no, I can Bruno. A power Bruno is in my hands. Right. Best play here. Huh. You know what? I kind of want the card draw. So let's go Flaversham, get rid of a Porpoise draw 2. That's fine. Wow. That's actually really good. Okay. Then we'll play out Neverland so we have even more passive lore gain. And I'm also going to play Bruno's Return. So now with Bruno's Return, I'll be able to return Triton. I can pick a card to heal. I'll just pick Flaversham just to say, yes, I've done it. And I can still ink this turn if I want to. Tempted to ink for Triton, but I kind of want to play... No, there's actually no point. Yeah, you know what? We're going to ink that Triton, but we just got back. And I'm going to play one jump ahead for us to go up to 10 ink. Beautiful. That now means next turn, I can sing how far I'll go, and I'm just going to raw play Triton. And when Triton's out, we're going to just shut down their entire board. Because with 3 locations out, that now means that all of my opponent's characters get -3 attack. Which means they will never attack into anything ever again. There's Tamatoa. Okay. There is Tammy. That's one jump. So you're still ramping like a crazy mother. Okay. This is such a trippy game. I don't know whether I like it or not. I'm kind of scared by the Tamatoa now, though. Tammy is scary. And there's more card draw. Okay. See what I mean? The AI sometimes makes really out there plays. Say the least. Youch. That kind of hurts. We did lose Neverland. But it's fine. Neverland's there to just be smacked out of the way if anything else. But we're up to 7. Which is good. We have another Bruno. I don't think we have any other characters in there. No, it's all my other stuff. Right. We're just going to do it. I think we just do it and have a laugh. First things first. We'll sing how far I go with Flaversham and just see what we get. What do we get? Ooh, another mana. Ooh, and a Vault Door. Ooh, tempting. Kind of want the mana for more locations. So let's go with McDuck mana because we need to focus on the locations rather than the characters. Do I just play it? Probably not because I don't have any character targets for Bruno's Return. So yeah, we're just going to play out Big Boy Triton. Look at that. -2 attack across the board. The only one that can really dink anything is maybe Medusa and Tamatoa, but when are you going to dink with Tammy? If you're dinking with Tammy, what are you doing with yourself? And I think that's it. Yeah, I think we just pass. See what happens. At least now, Medusa's not doing any damage to Flaversham, not doing any damage to the locations. We are fine, we are dandy. I can move Triton into Pride Lands next turn. Let's see what the AI does. This is probably one of the trippiest games I've ever seen. Yeah, you have to quest with Tamatoa to get back anything. Wow! No! And there's the problem! It's all over! Goddamn Maleficent Dragon, why? Every time! Just when I feel like something's coming up Millhouse, something's just gonna be like, nope! No Millhouse for you this turn. Christ. Ugh. But this is how Sisu on Ice works. Effectively, Sisu on Ice does not care about how good your early game is. By the time they get enough ink in play, it's just game over. Unless you can get rid of their hand or consistently control the board and turn it into a control game, it's going to be very hard to recover. It's going to be very hard to recover. I can always use Bruno to get Triton back, though. That's not the biggest problem in the world. I think what we do is just going to play out the other mana. I'm going to end up... I'm just gonna sing with Flaversham. There's really no point doing anything else with him. It's gonna get wrecked next turn. Might as well get some ink out of a deal. And we'll play out Bruno. We'll be able to get back the Triton. I'll be able to heal 2 damage off of Flaversham, so that's better than nothing. And we're good. Next turn I can replay Triton and probably be Maleficent Dragoned all over again. We'll soon find out. I hope you're at least enjoying the commentary, because this is why I do these videos now. This is why I like doing these test videos, because if I'm going to be doing deck testing anyway with the crazy ideas that pop into my head, why not turn it into content so that you guys can join me for the ride? And if you guys play Lorcana out there, let me know, what would you do to improve Pride of Atlantica .deck? Would you change anything? Well, probably change quite a lot of things, in fairness. And if you leave any of your comments with any criticisms you may have of the deck, or even how a video is being made, because I'm getting back into the swing of content creation again. There's going to be some teething room. There's going to be some things here and there that may not necessarily sync up as well that I'm used to, or maybe even you're used to. So let me know, because I don't get better unless you guys help me out in any capacity. And with the Lorcana community in general, I want to try and spur more people to be on the right side of it all and be on the, yeah, I want to help this guy out side, rather than the you suck, not bully, but just, you know, just the side of people where it's why would I help you? I'm on top and I want to stay on top. You know, just that like weird mentality. Bears referred, yeah, we're done. We're done. But let's see. Let's actually see if I can tease the last Medusa. You know what? I might as well play that with Bruno and get back to Flavisham. Why not? Why the heck not? Get Flavisham back. And I'm not hitting one of your boys. Get out. I ain't hitting none of them. I ain't hitting that. Let's see. I want to see a Maleficent Dragon. You've got it in your hand. I want to see it. I want to see it. There are 19 cards in their deck. Come on, I want to see it. Remove my Triton. Do it, do it, do it, do it. The anticipation is real. It's so darn real. But yeah, I think what we'll do is, after this, we'll have a look at the deck again. We'll go over what we've learned from the games. And yeah, there it is. Yeah. Bloody Maleficent Dragon. Now you're just teasing us. But in fairness, this is what the deck should do. It should just get rid of the rest of my locations for the sake of me not having anything anymore. And I think as well, and this brings up a very good point, this is the problem I have with locations on their own if you want to build a deck around them. I love the idea of locations, and there are some locations that are really, really cool. But the problem fundamentally with locations is that we don't have a searcher for locations, which hurts. When we have cards that can search for items, characters, songs, we can't have one that searches for locations. At least we don't have one yet. These are all being done before the release of Shimmering Skies. We're done. We are so totally done. This is so bad. I'm just gonna at this point. But yeah, all of these decks are being made before Shimmering Skies, the next set that comes out in August by the time you're watching this. So yeah, it is what it is. But I like my crazy deck ideas. Some of them work, some of them don't, and some of them only work half the time. But that's what happens. I'd rather work on crazy deck ideas and see if they work and see how far we can take them, rather than just playing meta that works. And yes, I know the idea is, oh, but you play meta because you win. And I get that. But this is why I call it Lorcana deck testing. If this is Lorcana winning, you'll just see me winning games all the time, and then we're not testing decks, we're not testing new ideas, we're not testing tech to see if tech works. We're just playing what we know works. And I'd rather test and be a test subject than just be someone that just knows when something works. But I'm just one of those guys. I'm a weirdo. Let's be weird. Hashtag let's be weird. Either way, we sucked against Sisu on ice, but it was bound to happen. a meta deck. We did quite well. We got up to 13 lore with basically just locations helping us out. And it was funny near the end anyway with Maleficent Dragons. Let's have a look at the deck. Okay, so what can we learn about the deck? Well, we know that Triton works. Pride Lands helps. But did you notice the one thing I noticed? As much as Triton synergizes with Pride Lands, the two never came together, really, if you think about it. I was never really able to move Triton, any of my Tritons, not even play out Simba, move them into Pride Lands and get a benefit. And that's a bit of a red flag for me. So I might be better changing out my locations in general. Maybe just playing some of the bigger locations. Maybe it would be better if I played Tiana's Palace. Maybe Tiana's Palace would actually be better than Pride Lands. We'd have to work that out and maybe do another test run in the future. Apart from that, the character's okay for the most part. I don't think Simba's just not putting in work whatsoever. Simba's just coming out and either being inked straight away or instantly dying. So it's not working out. I'm not even bodyguarding him most of the time. So bit of a waste. He's mostly here for Pride Lands, but as we've seen with Triton, it's not happening. So maybe we switch out Simba and Scuttle both, and we maybe bring in some support characters instead, so that we can at least flesh out our more mid to late game character options to make them more hardy. See what we can do. Maybe even put some healing tech out there, so that if we do challenge into something with Triton, we can just heal them up afterwards. Maybe with like Julieta, Madrigal in Amber, for example. The characters definitely need work. The character synergy not working as best as I hope. The developing brain definitely working. Bruno's definitely working, but then we have the occasional brick. The ramp's fine. The items for the most part are fine. We got Vault Door to trigger maybe once. So again, it's a bit of a, is Vault Door worth it? Bit of a 50-50. I still like Wildcat's Wrench, because that put in work, and you guys saw it. Wildcat's Wrench definitely saw work, and in this color synergy, I like it. So there's something to say with Wildcat's Wrench. We're going to keep that in. But again, I think it's a matter of if we don't do the Tamatoa tech, and we switched out Tamatoa for something else, maybe we switch out Tamatoa and we instead make a whole new thing with Amber and Sapphire and maybe try something new. But this is why we do Lorcana deck testing. We test it to see if it works. Simple as that. But if you guys like this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. In the comments, let me know what improvements would you make to the Pride of Atlantica deck. This is only version 1, and I am consistently looking to improve the decks that I post up on here. If you also want to play this deck, I'll be putting this deck up on my Discord server. You can go to my Discord and all the other channels that I work on over in the description down below. The Discord server will have copies of decks that I run in these videos, as well as videos that I do over on TikTok. I do a huge amount of videos on TikTok every single day. So they're short, they're easy, and I'm able to pump them out all the time. If you want a bunch of content, head on over to TikTok also if you enjoy that stuff. But this has been fun. Yet again, I hope you guys have enjoyed at least the commentary. The game's been a bit bad, I will admit, and the deck needs a huge improvement. But it's something, and at least we're testing it out. We're going to see how things go. But until next time, have fun, stay safe, stay awesome, and most importantly, stay explosive. I'm seeing you guys next time. See you then, peeps!